Welcome to the Carnivore Cast, a podcast focused on the carnivore diet and lifestyle, with practical advice from successful carnivores, citizen scientists, and top researchers. I'm your host, Scott Meslinski, and I'm here to speak with experts and experienced carnivores to get answers to your biggest and meatiest questions while helping you live your best life as a carnivore. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the Carnivore Cast on Patreon. By becoming a patron, you'll help us reach more people and continue to create content on carnivore. There are also exclusive perks available, such as private Q&As, consultations with me, and more. Become a supporter at patreon.com/carnivorecast. Check the episode description for the link. Thank you, and I'll see you there. Cody Zulfer is at goatfit_nutrition on Instagram. He's a carnivorous chef who's lost over 80 pounds, proud father, motivational speaker, epilepsy survivor, and jack dude who posts the most awesome carnivore food pics and recipes I've ever seen. Honestly, it's super creative and the definition of carnivore food porn. Welcome to the show, Cody.
Thanks so much, man. That address was pretty awesome.
Well, you've earned it, man. So let's just start at the beginning. How did you get sick, and what did your diet look like before carnivore?
Well, I guess I was just one of those people who suffered from lifelong standard American diet and the issues that come with that. I was eating snacks all the time, fast food. Fast food really was like my main meals. I didn't even know how to cook back before I started dieting. So I suffered from a ton of like stomach distress. I had SIBO, leaky gut, terrible arthritis. I was depressed because I didn't look good and I didn't feel good. So it was really just an overwhelming amount of things going on at the same time. And while I was dealing with all that, my son was growing up. And before I started my diet, he was about the age of 2. So that's really when kids start running around the house and wanting to play. And I didn't have the energy. My joints hurt. And I knew something had to change. So I just needed to fix myself so I could be the dad that I wanted to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. And had you tried other diets in the past? Had you tried to improve your health?
I did like a chicken tender salad diet one time when I was I compete in jiu-jitsu, and when I first started that, I was doing like chicken tenders and salads every day. And I lost some weight doing that. But I was constantly getting injured still and having to take time out. And then whenever my son was born, I had to stop for a couple of years, and I just gained a ton of weight through that.
Yeah. And you talk about motivation and your son. How old is he now?
He's 4.5 now.
Awesome. So tell us about, how you found carnivore diet, or was that the first thing you tried, or did you try other things first, after the chicken tender and salad diet? But, when he was getting older and you were getting sicker, what did you discover, and tell us more about the journey?
Yeah. So like I said, I was dealing with all kinds of like mental issues and physical issues, and I knew that I needed to change something. So the first step that I did was I started fasting. So I went like straight from eating tons of snacks all day long, every hour or so grabbing some kind of snack, to only eating one meal a day. I went like right into it. And a few weeks into that, I kept hearing the word keto thrown around, ketogenic diet, and I had no idea what it was. So I just researched it. Like you said in my introduction, I'm an epilepsy survivor, and no doctor ever once told me about a diet that would help my epilepsy. So that was just something that I subsequently found on my own. But so after like 3 or 4 weeks of doing the 1 meal a day fasting, I just decided I was basically already there to start keto, so I might as well just jump in.
Yeah, that's awesome. And tell us a little bit more about epilepsy. Like, how did you overcome that? And do you have to maintain certain ketogenic ratios to target that? Because I know that's like one of the main, most proven benefits of a carnivore diet is for patients with epilepsy.
Yeah, so after, like, I used to have seizures once a day at least. Some days I would have multiple seizures, and they would range from being like mild to very violent. There was several times where I woke up with paramedics in my house all around me, hooking me up to machines. So it was very scary, especially for my son. And once I started doing keto, the seizures slowly started to become less frequent and further apart between each one, to where ultimately it was about 3 months in, I stopped having seizures altogether.
Wow.
Which, yeah, it was amazing. And I haven't had a seizure since.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it takes a ton of stress off of me. And I don't use any medications for it. I don't supplement with CBD or THC like some people do to help balance out the effects. It's strictly diet based, which is what I use to prevent my seizures. As for a fat ratio, I know a lot of people always hold to the standard. You need like a 3-to-1 or even a 4-to-1 ratio of fat to protein. For me, I haven't found that necessary. Last year, I went through a really hard phase of shredding up. Like, I just wanted to get as lean as I possibly could. So I was eating only lean proteins. I wasn't monitoring my protein intake, but I was monitoring my ketone levels. So I was eating lean protein basically only, no added fats, and still doing the 1 meal a day. And I was ranging from like 1.5 to sometimes 3.0 on the ketone millimoles.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, I can't imagine what it had been like to live with epilepsy, but it's amazing to hear how much it's helped, and the fact that you don't have to be super strict with the ketogenic macros and the ketones is really awesome. And so you found keto. You mentioned that. How did that evolve? How did it turn into how you eat today?
Yeah, finding keto was really like a great thing for me. Like I said, it taught me all kinds of things about nutrition, all the horrible things about what I was eating beforehand. But it really it didn't get me everything that some people get out of keto. Like it helped with my energy levels. It helped with my arthritis a bit. I dropped some weight. I dropped probably like 35 pounds or so. But it didn't help my stomach issues at all. I was still suffering from a ton of inflammation, still dealing with my SIBO, leaky gut was crazy. So I just wanted to take it to the next step, because I was doing a very simple version of keto anyways. I was just still incorporating salads. So the more and more I heard about carnivore and teaching myself more about how plant toxins can affect the human body, how we're not really made to ingest them. That's why we created all these different cooking techniques to try and lessen the damage or the impact that they have. So I just decided that I wanted to go carnivore. And then I got an in-body result, and it told me that I was like 15% body fat, and I wanted to just, from that moment on, I was like, all right, this is when I'm going to switch over to carnivore and see how many more benefits I can reap from this diet.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And actually pretty similar to my story. I had a DEXA, where I'd been lifting for a while and eating keto and doing what I thought was healthy, but I was 20% body fat, at only 150 pounds, and I'm 5'10". So I was definitely kind of on the edge of skinny fat. And, you lost 80 pounds. Where did that come from? Where along the way did that happen? Was that, a lot through the keto journey and then carnivore kind of boosted it, or how did that evolve?
Oh yeah. Like I said, I only lost about 35 pounds or so from keto.
Okay.
But then once I switched over to carnivore, within 4 months, I had dropped another 40.
Wow. That's amazing. And, did you have to make any special efforts with what you were eating on carnivore to do that? Or, what did your carnivore kind of meals look like?
Yeah. So my meals basically were just like I said, I prefer lean meats, lean proteins, which is kind of like against the grain for some people. But, I also value, game meats above normal cuts if I can have it. So it was basically just having a bison strip steak every night with some eggs here and there. I would make occasionally I would do like a burger, and I like doing like organ meat burgers. So it was really just like the one meal a day with those type of food groups. I'm not a chicken hater at all. I love chicken, so some days it would be chicken. I really didn't like exclude anything.
Today's episode is brought to you by Optimal Carnivore, created by carnivores for carnivores, and their new product, grass-fed bone marrow. It's the whole bone extract, which includes bone marrow, cartilage, and collagen peptides. Our ancestors would have eaten the whole animal, including the bones, and especially the marrow. All the nutrients and substances that your body uses to repair and maintain your bones, teeth, and connective tissues. The bone marrow context contains the same components as a home-cooked bone broth, but way easier without the hassle of sourcing high-quality bones, boiling them for days. And this product is gently freeze-dried, so all the prized nutrients are left completely intact. It's perfect for people who are traveling or don't have time to make bone broth. Visit www.optimalcarnivore.com/carnivorecast and use the code carnivore10 to receive 10% off your purchase. Now back to the show.
How do you eat on a daily basis now? I mean, some of your recipe, like every night looks like this amazing feast, the pictures you post on Instagram. So I'm curious, one, how do you come up with some of the recipes you have? And two, how do you eat on a daily basis?
Well, yeah, I super appreciate that too, man. But so I still to this day, I do one meal a day.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah, it's how I feel better. I've dabbled around with having 2 meals or eating lunch and stuff like that. And it just doesn't work for me. So I just do one meal a day. And then as for like my recipes, like I said, I get most of the day to try and figure out what I'm going to cook. And I watch a ton of Food Network. So I'll see people making things I've never even heard about because I'm not a trained chef. Everything I create is just from practicing in the kitchen. So I'll see a meal and I'll look at it and think that it's pretty cool. And my brain will just start running about how I can shift that into a zero or low carb version. And then what really helps me is my son. He's 4.5 now. So I like to keep things really exciting for him because every new recipe I make is a new meal for him to eat because he eats the same way that I do.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's so awesome of you. And have you thought about making like a cookbook or something like that with all your recipes? I know I messaged you like a week ago because I have a birthday coming up in a couple months, and I wanted my wife to make your carnivore pizza and boneless chicken wings that you were making for our fight night the other day. But I'm curious if you'd consider making a cookbook.
Oh yeah, it's definitely in the works. I guess I'm a little slacking on really knuckling up and putting in all the effort.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I am committed to writing down all my recipes, getting them to where I feel that they're publishable. And then, as you know, I like to take pictures of all my food.
Yeah.
So I'm working on like getting quality photos of the food for when I can get the books out. But it's definitely something I'm working at. I'm just not doing it as diligently as I probably should be.
Sure. Takes time. And understand you've got other things, your dad, and there's only so much time in the day. And what do your workouts look like? You know, you mentioned you eat one meal a day. Is that around your workout? Do you work out, fasted early in the morning? How do you train?
Yeah. So, last year when I got down to like 5% body fat, like super lean, I was doing mostly only calisthenics. So a ton of pull-ups. I was going for jogs and walks multiple times a day. But now I really shifted into kind of weight training the last few months. But so I eat my one meal a day and I do it at night. So I typically eat around like 4 or 5, depending on when I finish cooking. And then I fast all through the night, and then I wake up in the morning. I typically wake up around 6 or 7, and I'll let my dogs out, and I'll fart around the house for a minute, and then I just start lifting. So completely fasted. I do all my workouts in the morning for about 2 to 3 hours if I get the time. It just really depends on when my son wakes up. Some mornings he comes down around like 8, so I'll have like an hour or 2. Some mornings he'll wake up around 10, so I'll have a pretty good amount of time to get the workout in. And I don't go like super like crazy on like high intensity. I do breaks, but not real long ones. I just take it real casual, kind of if you were just like bouncing around the gym. I've got a ton of equipment, so I'll just like go from kettlebells to dumbbells to pull-ups on my pull-up bar. I use elastic bands. Recently, I just started using like blood flow restriction bands, which are fun.
Yeah, very cool. And recently, Cody, you had a car accident. Can you talk a little bit about that? What happened and how did you react?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like 2 weeks ago, I was driving home with my son. It was just before like 11 o'clock at night. And we're just about to get on the highway, probably 10 minutes away from the house. And I look in my rear view and there's a car flying. Like everybody, including the cops, think this guy was going about 100. And he doesn't look, like I said, I look in the rear view just by luck, to be honest, and he's not stopping. Like he doesn't see me at all for some reason. And so I swerve out of the way just a little bit, but I didn't have enough to get out of the way completely. And he just smashes into the passenger side of my car in the back. He never hit the brakes or anything. Luckily, my son's car seat is on the driver's side. So me and him didn't take the impact as much as we would have if we had taken the car coming at us square in the back, or even if it had hit us on the driver's side. but it was nuts. All I could do was try and keep control of the car. We spun out 3 or 4 times. The car that hit us flipped a couple times. It was just ridiculous. It knocked the glasses off my face. It knocked my phone into the back to where I couldn't even find it because it was in where the car got all crunched. But I get out of the car and I just try and make sure my son's okay. And the cops were there almost immediately. And we find out that the dude that hit us, I guess, crawled out of his car and ran away.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. Later we find out that the guy was drunk. That's why he left the scene and why he, I guess, didn't see us at all.
That's terrifying. I can't imagine what that must have been like. And what was most amazing to me was just your attitude about it. Can you talk a little bit about that, like how you reacted and how you felt about it?
Yeah, see, like, as dangerous of a situation as it was, it could have been so much worse. Like, if we had taken it square, all 3 of us could have been killed in that impact. The driver was going so fast. So I'm just happy. I'm lucky that both me and my son were safe. I have some injuries from it, which has taken some time and some added effort in just like my daily routine, but that's nothing compared to what could have happened. My son, he's in perfect condition. He didn't get a scratch on him. He had nothing sore. He was excellent. So that's my biggest thing. And that's the reason why I could remain so positive through such a crazy event, because he's my main priority.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was fine and nothing was wrong with him. I don't care how beat up I got, and everything's going to be fine as long as he's fine. The car, it can be replaced.
Yeah, that's a great attitude to have, and I'm really grateful that you're okay, Cody. But awesome to be able to walk away from it with that perspective. I think it shows a lot about your maturity. And can you talk about, one of the things you have in your Instagram profile is your motivational speaker. And you talked about your son, but what's your motivation to get better, and how do you like to share that with others?
So my main motivation is my son, 100%. He's the whole reason why I fixed my life, why I tried so hard to overcome all the disorders and disabilities that I was suffering from. But when I'm speaking motivationally, I'm speaking to others that either suffer from similar things that I had or suffer from the same mentalities that I had, and just telling them how they can change their life and what an impact small changes can be long term.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And I think it's all about changing habits, making your daily routine just a little bit different. Can you talk a little bit more about, your account, what you share with people, and what's your goal with the account and other work you're doing?
Yeah. So with my account, it started as just a personal account, and then I started my coaching practice. So I use it a little bit to promote my coaching, but I just want to showcase how not only effective this diet and lifestyle can be, but I wanted to show people how much fun the carnivore lifestyle can be too. Like, everybody knows that you can survive really well off meat and eggs, with the supplementing of organ meats on a regular basis. But this might not be something that someone not in our community is super open to. They might feel that it's boring, or they don't like this or that, or how can you go without this? So one of the biggest drives when I'm creating new recipes is I'm trying to showcase how much fun you can still have with eating this way. You don't have to suffer yourself with all these carbs and plant toxins and other refined grains and shit when you can just knuckle down and create the same thing, but in a version that's not going to hurt your body. Like me making the bread or the pizza recipes or corn dogs, or like you said, the boneless hot wings. All these things are just really for me to showcase to people who aren't in our community how delicious and eye-catching everything can be and still be without all these damaging things and refined sugars and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty awesome to highlight, that cooking can be amazing, fun, creative, and delicious, as all your food looks. I wish you were my private chef, but also use that as a vehicle to get people hooked and get them to try some of these lifestyle changes.
Yeah, exactly. And the knowledge is getting spread better lately. Eating less carbs and cutting back on bread and sugar doesn't seem so crazy to most people anymore. So when you're able to show them a recipe that has no carbs or has no sugar in it, but it still looks like, tastes like, resembles childhood favorites, people are so much more open to trying it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Cody, this has been awesome. I feel like we're just scratching the surface, but I feel like I can't do you justice without having your account open and have people looking at the pictures. So where can people find out more about you, follow you, contact you, and learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. My Instagram page where I showcase all my food is Goat Fit Nutrition. So it's goatfit_nutrition. You can find pretty much every recipe I make on there. There's a contact button where you can email me directly. I don't know if my phone number is listed. I'm also on Facebook, my first and last name, Cody Zulfer. And I'm just really open to communicating with anybody who wants to help themselves, needs new cooking recipes. My coaching practice is always open. My recipes are always there for people to use and love. And I just really want to help everybody the best that I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll certainly link to all that in the show notes, and really appreciate you coming on today, Cody. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I hope folks can go reach out to you, check out your account, give you a follow, and start benefiting from your content.
I super appreciate it, man. And it's been a blast being on here. You're one of my favorite people. So
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine. Hope you have a great rest of your day, Cody.
You too, man. Take care.
Adios.
If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the Carnivore Cast on Patreon. By becoming a patron, you'll help us reach more people and continue to create content on carnivore. There are also exclusive perks available, such as private Q&As, consultations with me, and more. Become a supporter at patreon.com/carnivorecast. Check the episode description for the link. Thank you, and I'll see you there. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Carnivore Cast. If you enjoyed this episode, please review on iTunes. It really helps us out. And share it with a friend. What questions would you like answered? Or who would you like to hear from in the carnivore research community? You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Carnivore Cast, or go to carnivorecast.com. You can also email me at info@carnivorecast.com. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep it carnivore.